left side. If you know that, you will see it. So head tilt to the left side, and in addition there's a deviation of subjective visual verticality. And if she has a skew deviation, then head tilt and skew deviation are in the same direction. The left eye will be the lower one, the head will be tilted to the left, the whole body can be tilted to the left. And this is part of the ocular tilt reaction. All into the same direction, easy to remember. Okay, so that's the first thing. If the patient has a head tilt, bring the head in an upright position. The next thing, and this we will do together, is to look for a skew deviation. We saw some videos yesterday, so one eye above the other. And the most sensitive test for this is the alternating cover test. So look at my finger here, and you cover one eye, and then you cover the other eye. And then you look whether the eyes are moving upward or downward. So this is the alternating cover test. Okay? If you see a skew deviation, it will be central, you can stop. This is a stroke, maybe she had a dissection after scuba diving or playing too much golf. And then she got a dissection, I don't play golf. And this can be a very simple and straightforward diagnosis. The next thing you look at, we already mentioned that, is a nystagmus. Nystagmus comes from the Greek term nystagsein, that means falling asleep, getting drowsy. We all noticed that in a radiology conference after lunch. I think it's the same in your country. Dark room, you get tired and you move slowly forward and backward. The slow phase when you fall asleep is the pathological one. The slow phase in a nystagmus is also the pathological one. And the saccade brings the head and the eyes back to the upright or fixation point. Okay, so then the patient fixates, you look for a nystagmus. If you don't see anything, put on Michael's glasses, and then you can probably see whether nystagmus is suppressed by visual fixation or not. But be aware, as we pointed out yesterday, 50% of the central types of nystagmus can also be suppressed by visual fixation. If the stroke in the brainstem or cerebellum does not affect your fixation and your smooth pursuit system, they're pretty much the same, then you can suppress the nystagmus. So suppression does not automatically mean that this is peripheral. However, if the nystagmus is not suppressed, it will not be peripheral. This statement is true. Okay, now we'll move a little bit more over to the ocular motor system. And what you examine first is smooth pursuit. That means she follows a target, and you look whether it's smooth or saccadic. And for vertical eye movements, you always have to lift up the eyelids, otherwise you don't see the eyes when she's looking downward. So that's very simple. Lift the eyelids, and then the patient should follow your finger. You start with a low angular velocity, and then you can increase it. Physiologically, in 80% of us, it's a little bit saccadic downwardly, because we have less Purkinje cell for downward than for upward movement. We don't know why, but this is something which is known. Okay, that was smooth pursuit. The next thing, that's a little bit tricky, is gaze holding. You look for a gaze-evoked nystagmus. What is the most frequent cause of a gaze-evoked nystagmus in our culture? Alcohol. Alcohol is number one. Number two are anti-epileptic drugs. And number three are degenerative diseases affecting the cerebellum. And there's now some confusion about the terminology. What is the endpoint? What's the endpoint nystagmus? Well, this depends on the bridge of your nose. So in Asian people, the endpoint is further away than in French or German people, because we have a bigger bridge of our nose. So the endpoint is defined by the point when the patient is, look at my finger, is still able to see your finger with both eyes. And you walk around, and you look here, look at my finger, okay, good. And then you look up, can you still see my finger? No? Can you see it now? So it's important to ask the patient, do you still see the target? And when you look downward, look here, do you see still my finger? Here? Down is really amazing how far we can look downward. And then you look whether the eyes stay on the target or whether they drift to the midline, and then the patient has a gaze-evoked nystagmus. Gaze-evoked means the eyes are drifting to the midline and then they jump back to refixate the target. The next tricky thing is to examine saccades. Saccades is a French term. If you do horse riding and give the horse a signal, it's a saccade. This is what you do. So it's a very quick movement. Saccades are our fastest movement. By the way, which of our eye movements are voluntary? Saccades only. Everything else is driven by reflex. So when we do smooth pursuit, the eyes are a little bit behind the target, and then retinal slip drives smooth pursuit. So saccades, we have voluntary saccades and we have reflexive saccades. Clinically, there's no need really to discriminate both. But the examination of the saccades is the most tricky issue of the whole examination. So, give the patient a good target, and you look always at the finger which comes up. Left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. So you noticed saccades are very fast, but the frequency I gave the signal to the patient was very low. Because sometimes there is a so-called accelerando between the patient and the doctor, and you end up, as the Italians say, in finale furioso. And nobody knows, neither the patient nor the doctor, what to do. So keep the tempo tuck, tuck, tuck. And you look at three things. First, the velocity. And if you can see the eyes moving during the saccade, they are too slow. Secondly, you look at the precision. Are they hypometric or are they hypermetric? If they're hypermetric, this indicates a cerebellar dysfunction. The cerebellum is responsible for the precision of movement, not for the velocity. Hypermetric means cerebellar. Like limb ataxia, it goes too far. Exactly, you made the right movement. Yeah? So precision and conjugacy. Normally they move with the same angular velocity in both directions. If you have an internuclear ophthalmoplegia, or if you have an occlusal palsy, there was one case yesterday, they are not conjugate but disconjugate in your tumor patient. Yeah? Okay, so left, right, and one finger goes up and the other one goes down. Okay, for vertical saccades, lift the upper eyelids. Can you do this? Okay, up, look up and down, and the amplitude does not need to be too high. Up, down, up, down, up, down. Okay, then we have here something oculokinetic nystagmus. That's not so relevant. I think we can skip that. What you have to do in all patients is a head impulse test. Look at my nose. One movement. What about a smile? Okay, good. Now we got it. Okay, 4 or 5 times in one direction, unpredictable for the patient. And the next test you can only do if you're sure the patient has a vestibulo-ocular reflex. Because suppression of the VOR makes only sense if you have a VOR. If you have a bilateral vestibulocularly, you cannot suppress the VOR because you have no VOR. So there's one regular test which is done. Patient fixates the nail of the thumbs, fixates the target, and then you have to have movement of the head and the target with the same angular velocity. So she's moving like this, fixate the nail of your thumb, and you look whether the eyes stay on the target or not. A much better way is to use your smartphone. You switch on your camera, the patient fixates the camera, and then you do this. So you can immediately document whether the eyes stay on the target or not. That's a super elegant test. I had the idea many years ago. Unfortunately, I did not publish that. Someone else published that. So you take a video of the patient's eye movement while fixating the camera. Then you see whether the eyes stay on the target or like this. Pop, 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 pop. Okay, then we have the maneuvers, and based on Anita's simulation, you should start with the horizontal canal, lying in the back. Okay, the head should be elevated by 25 degrees so that the horizontal canal is vertical. Can you get up a little bit? Okay, lie down again. So 25 degrees. Now her horizontal canal is vertical. You put on the glasses. I think Abbott is distributing the glasses for free in Vietnam. Do you? You get them? Speak to your Abbott people. Okay. So then you turn the patient's head to one direction, 90 degrees, and you look whether she has a nystagmus. If it's linear horizontal, it will be horizontal canal BPPV. It's beating geotropically, it will be most likely canalolithiasis. If it lasts forever, it will be cupulolithiasis. And then the other side. Okay, if you don't see anything, the patient should sit up. Turn around. Then you move on with the posterior canal. If you don't know which side is affected, start with the right side. The right side is affected twice as often as the left side. Why? If your heart is on the right place, that means on the left side of your body, you more often sleep on the right side. We all do that. And therefore, the risk is higher that the crystals fall into the right posterior canal. So turn the patient's head 45 degrees to the left. Now, I prefer this diagnostic symbol maneuver over the apnea very much, or the Dix-4 pike. By the way, who was Dix, a male or a female? A female. Yeah? Dix was a female. Pike was the big guy in these days, but she was a female and she described it. Okay, so go down here with a mediocre velocity. She likes it, did you hear it? Okay, good. That's a regular diagnostic symbol maneuver, but we can extend it to the symbol plus, and to avoid that she falls down, put the chair here, so she can then put her hand here. Can you come down? Okay, sit down here. Sit, yeah. A little bit more to the left. Okay. Then you will extend your arm. You land here on the chair. Okay, I'll guide it. And for the diagnostic and therapeutic maneuvers, hold the patient's head similar to holding the head when you do the head impulse test. Then you have everything under control. Okay. So now we do the diagnostic symbol plus. Okay, touch the ground. Oh, this is super, super, super. Okay, let's imagine you see something now. Then the nystagmus will be beating toward the undermost ear with a crescendo decrescendo time pause. The direction is vertical torsional because it's excitation of the affected canal on the right side. You wait 1 minute, and then you move the patient by 214 degrees. Ooh, he likes it too. Into the opposite direction. Wait another 60 seconds, and then she should sit up. Okay, did you like it? Moderately. Be careful if the crystals fall back to the utricle. Patients have a strong tendency to fall backward, so hold the patient like this, otherwise she will turn around. Okay, and you have bilateral post-traumatic BPPV. Okay, this has to be done 3 times in the morning, 3 times at noon, and 3 times at night, and you have to give the patient exercise on how to do it. Okay, now we move over to the Romberg test you're familiar with. First, both legs apart, hold your hands like this, close your eyes, open your eyes. Now, open your eyes, both legs together, close your eyes, open your eyes. Now the next one is the tandem Romberg. With this one foot really in front of the other. Close your eyes. Okay, close your eyes. She sways more, which is physiological. Open your eyes. The final one is stand on one leg. Just regular. Okay, and then close your eyes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and the last test is actually the first test because When the patient comes in, you can often make the diagnosis. Whether it's normal pressure hydrocephalus, whether it's Parkinson's disease, whether it's ataxia, whether it's bilateral vestibulopathy, whether it's multiple system atrophy. So the patient comes in and you have the diagnosis before the patient enters the office. That's a good doctor. Do you agree, Mr. President? Yeah, this is what we like. We have pattern recognition as experienced doctors. But the regular way to examine gait is can you walk up and down? Regular walking. Okay, you look at the arm swing. Okay, you look whether she's walking like this or this. You look at the rhythm of the rhythm. Asymmetries. The humans are the only one who can walk, so it's something very specific for us. Even Lucy, Australopithecus afarensis, you can translate it 1-to-1, 3.2 million years ago, was able to walk because her metatarsal bone was not like this in the apes, but it was a little bit bent like this, so we were sure that she was already walking, Lucy. Okay, and then you can let her walk with the eyes closed. Close your eyes, okay. Stop, turn around, okay. Then she can walk heel to toe. Close your eyes. Okay, that's all. It takes you 5 minutes. And this is what we are going to do together now, pairwise. So you should not leave this room, or you're not allowed to leave this room, if you're not able to do that properly. And apply it tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock in your first patient. If the patient will like you like your busy patient, and you can learn from every patient. I see 3 days a week outpatients. I make the ward rounds 5 days a week, and I learn from every patient. I love my patients, and I hope they like me too. Okay, so now we have 5 groups. We have 5 instructors, and then maybe I go with group number 5. You can go 4, 3, 2, 1, and then we have plenty of time for real exercises. Vamos.